Hi everybody. We are now going to talk about the very last topic that we do in 100, and it's quadratic formula. And I want to tell you that this is my favorite topic that we cover. And I told you before the whole course that I really like doing eyes, but I really like doing quadratic formula. And this is when I really miss seeing people and having you in class, because we're going to sing during this section, and I think it's just great. So when we're solving, so we've learned how to use the square root property to solve quadratic equations. We've learned how to complete the square when we have quadratic equations, but there are some things with completing the square. It has to be a 1x squared, and you might run into fractions. It can be a little difficult. So it would really be nice to have a go-to that would be easier to work. To me, it's easier to work than completing the square. So it is called the quadratic formula, and I love a good formula. And so the quadratic formula says x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now you ask yourself, we got x's, we got a's, got b's, got c's. So how this works is we've got an ax squared plus a bx plus a c equal to 0. So the key with quadratic formula is, one, you have to have your quadratic set equal to 0. So that's a little bit different from completing the square. It needs to be set equal to 0. And then we're just using these coefficients. The a in front of the x squared, the b is in front of x, and the c is the constant. And we're just going to plug these numbers into this formula and work it. Now, this formula looks like it's really hard to remember because there's a lot going on in it. So I have a great way for you to remember this formula. And I'm hoping everybody knows the tune to Pop Goes the Weasel. Na 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 na. Pop goes the weasel. Well, we can sing the quadratic formula to Pop Goes the Weasel. Now, if you were in my face-to-face class, I would show you a number of videos where you've got people singing the quadratic formula to a variety of tunes. Pop Goes the Weasel, though, is just an easy one. Feel free, go to YouTube, look up quadratic formula songs. You will find a plethora of examples. But here's how it goes to Pop Goes the Weasel. And once I do it once, then you stop the video, you sing along, and then you will learn it, and it will be stuck in your head for forever. So it goes like this. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There you go. Now, if you were in class, I would turn to you in class, and I would say, okay, it's time for everyone to sing. And I walk around the room, and I make sure everybody's singing. So let's sing it one more time. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now you know why this is one of my favorite sections in the whole chapter, or in the whole course, actually. So let's look at this one. I've got 2x squared plus 5x minus 4. It's already set equal to 0. So I like to come over here and I like to write a equals 2, b equals 5, and c equals negative 4. Be sure you carry the signs with the coefficients. So x equals negative b, so negative 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Be sure you carry the signs all over 2a. And now we're just going to work it out. So I've got negative 5 plus or minus. 5 squared is 25. It's also handy to have your calculators out when you're working these. Negative 4 times 2 would be negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 4 would be plus 32. All over 2 times 2 is 4. So that's negative 5 plus or minus. 25 times 32 is 757 all over 4. And I don't think that 57 has any perfect squares that go into it. You can check me, but I do not believe it does. So negative 5 plus or minus square root of 57 over 4. So you could write it as negative 5 plus square root of 57 over 4 and negative 5 minus square root of 57 over 4. Just like that. Okay, so let's try another one down here at the bottom of the page. 2m squared plus 3m minus 7 equals 0. It's already set equal to 0. A equals 2. B equals 3. C equals negative 7. I'm going to go ahead and make the page a little longer. There we go. So we know x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so negative 3 plus or minus. 3 squared is 9. Minus 4 times 2 would be 8. Negative 8 again. Negative 8 times negative 7 would be plus 56. Sometimes I'll lose the pen. Hang on just a second. Okay, I've got my pen back. So negative 4 times 2 would be negative 8 times negative 7 is plus 56. So I've got 9 plus 56 underneath the radical. So that equals 65. So I've got negative 3 plus or minus square root of 65 over 4. Now, in your homework, sometimes it will ask for exact answers. This would be an exact answer where you could write negative 3 plus square root of 65 over 4 and negative 3 minus square root of 65 over 4 because I don't believe any perfect squares go into 65. If it asks for a decimal answer, then you're going to need to get your calculator out and be very careful because it's easy to get these a little bit messed up with your calculator. So you take negative 65, square root of 65 on your calculator. Then in this case, we're going to subtract 3 from it because there's a minus 3 here. And then hit equals and then divide all of that by 4. That will give you your decimal answer. Then over here, do the same thing. Put negative square root of 65 minus 3. Hit equal and then divide it by 4. So for your decimal answers, be sure you use a good calculator and pay attention to how they want you to round. All right, so we're not going to have any like that where we have to solve. I really want to find another one. Well, let's just go ahead and we will, I'll work this one out. You're not going to have anywhere you're going to have to work them out. They're already going to be in quadratic form. So that's going to be 3x squared minus 18x equals x minus 20. Okay, so let's let's subtract x from both sides. Let's add the 20. So 3x squared minus 19x plus 20 equals 0. Now these are going to be rather large numbers, so we're going to need to take it slowly. So A equals 3. Let's do that first. B equals negative 19. C equals 20. So minus B, since that B is already minus a minus 19 is going to end up being, when we get down to the next step, plus 19. So plus or minus the square root. And again, negative 19 squared is going to end up being a plus. Be sure that if you're using your calculator, you end up with a positive number here. That's what throws a lot of people off. So minus 4 times A, which is 3, times C, which is 20. All over 2 times 3. So minus a minus 19 is plus 19. Plus or minus the square root. So negative 19. Be sure that you use parentheses in your calculator when you are figuring out negative 19 squared. You should get positive 361. Minus 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 20 is going to be 240. All over 2 times 3 is 6. So 19 plus or minus 361 minus 240 is going to be 121 over 6. Now, this is a nice one because the square root of 121, if you look on your square root page or you use your calculator, that equals 11. So I have 19 plus or minus 11 over 6. So now this is the first one we've had nice whole numbers and hadn't been left with a square root. So this is what you do. You have 19 plus 11 over 6. Let's figure out what that is. 19 plus 11 is going to be equal to 30 over 6, which equals 5. So 5 is an answer. And then you have 19 minus 11 over 6. So 19 minus 11 is going to give us an 8 over 6, which we can reduce that fraction to 4/3. So 5 is an answer and 4/3 is an answer for this one. So this is quadratic formula, using the quadratic formula. I'm going to save word problems for a separate video, but sing that quadratic formula to yourself. Be sure you write down what A, B, and C are and plug them in, and you won't have any issues whatsoever. Watch the calculator and watch your rounding if you're asked for exact or if you're asked for decimal answers. Have a great day.